Is positioned right below the camera. We're taking a look at it. He comes off of turn number 9, and boy, I don't know if something broke loose on the race car or what, but that was a big hit to the right side of that race car, and he comes to rest in the runoff area in turn number 10.
You know, it does look like, and Mark, let's be honest, the two of us, neither of us are engineers, right? So that said, when you look at the internal camera from the car, there are two things that it shows. Number one, looks like Will Power is going to be okay because he was still trying to steer the car and was just sitting.
You see the 28, Brian Hunter-Reay comes in the inside, and Marco tries to follow through, maybe a little bit too optimistic to be able to take advantage of it and follow his teammate through. Ends up getting that front clipped and ends up having the car swing around on him. Now the car is still running now, and he gets the thing spun back around, going in the right direction, but the second time he ends up stalling the engine. Now here you see on the right-hand side, the onboard, the lane closes for him, takes away the real estate, and the collision happens. Wheel to wheel with Tony Kanaan.
What a great drive. Now he's just got to, look at this. Look at this.
Half the field in a wreck.
Morning hour, rush hour, what a view. This looks like downtown Tokyo.
A lot of finger communication.
Coming down to the very bumpy turn 4, and we see a great battle at the front. But watch what happens here. Everybody goes for that same piece of real estate as we talk about. And then number 26, Carlos Munoz, into the back of Graham Rahal. The 12 of Oriol Servia, 41, Jack Hawksworth, and everybody else has nowhere to go. From the great battle up front to the collision.
I think it was Castroneves.
Yeah, but that didn't.
That didn't do what we're looking at.
Right. All right.
But not much differentiation between your top speed on the straightaway and your minimum speed in the corner.
Oh, whoa! And around goes Takuma Sato back into the wall.
And that's a hard hit right there. He just wide open.
All right, buddy.
That's a lot of damage to that car.
Seeing Takuma Sato getting out of that car and standing there after a very violent hit.
The first thing when you have an impact like that is just catching your breath, because oftentimes you talk about the wind getting knocked out of you. It could take you a good 45 seconds to breathe again. Here's what happened. And it just looks like, Paul, he got in there to one and just way too loose, and it just came around on him.
Take a listen to this.
Well, we didn't have the audio, but I promise you it was a big boom.
Violent.
And so thankful for the safer barriers for an impact like that. And you got to remember, the teams were here for 2 days testing. Right? And everybody was kind of easy, flat, just pounding around. And you come back here as a driver, and your first instinct is, yeah, things are warm. I'm just going to go ahead and hammer it down like I did at the test. And this must have caught him out.
Yeah, a very, very similar wreck to when the first year I raced, or second year I raced here, Nigel Mansell got here as a rookie.
James Hinchcliffe get into the safety vehicle. We'll ride along with him.
Wide open and just loses it.
Right in the center of the turn.
And that was not just like a gentle loose. That was just a snap gone. Absolutely no chance.
No chance to correct it or try to get out of it. It just snapped, and it was all over. Parts flying. Looked like they went over the fence.
A very similar contact with the wall is what we saw from Sato earlier. Sounded the same.
That's the worst noise in IndyCar racing, man, when you just hear the wind knocked out of that safer barrier in the back of that car.
I'll tell you one thing that's a good thing that we've seen so far, that the big problem they were having last year on the ovals was when they got backwards and hit, the cars would lift up off the ground and start to take off and fly. They're going close to 200 miles an hour here, and the cars are staying on the ground, which is good.
Yeah, the flaps are keeping them down on the ground when they are going backwards.
Green
Somewhat
flag,
adjusting, negotiating that back wing, trying to figure out the right amount of downforce, and once again we have another car backed into the wall.
That's a hard hit because he hit square, Townsend, right square on the gearbox. Both wheels are on. The other guys kind of hit at a glancing angle. That was a very square hit.
Terrible.
And
You're right, Paul. He lost it much earlier in the corner than Sato.
Yeah, his head is down. He's probably knocked out there for a little bit and let the car roll.
We've seen it again in 1 and 2.
And this was the worst angle, as you said, Paul. This was a direct hit.
Dead square right on the gearbox, which is the worst case scenario, really, because all that G-load just gets pushed right back into the chassis and the car.
And that was earlier in the turn. Right where he's parked now is where we saw Takuma Sato and James Hinchcliffe hit the wall. So he hit it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, he was loose right away. As soon as he turned in, it was going around. And that, now you see it hit square right there.
He was on that yellow line as well, PT. You had commented on that earlier.
We'll see if he lifts his visor here. He does, but he's not cognizant enough to put his foot on the brake and try to stop the car. So he's trying to figure where his whereabouts are as the car rolls down the track. And if that's in a race situation and the car starts to roll down the track, that could cause a big problem for the other cars that are coming too.
This is the third Honda so far to start the weekend to have a very similar crash. I think these guys are just trying to trim out as best they can and kind of just go for it. And, man, they're paying the price.
And he's getting chased down by Castro Neves. He's on fresh tires, and that shows you how much quicker you are on fresh tires. He got out in the gray.
clear, clear.
Lost control.
Wow.
Yellow.
Yeah, he just got out of the groove, got up in the dirty part of the track, and lost it. So that shows you how good Castro Neves was, because he was up there with a flat tire.
Nice job,
And now
nice
moving
job.
to the inside. Too wide as they go. Oh, they touched. Not enough room, and around goes the 83 of Charlie Kimball. Kimball spins.
Great car control from Kimball, but an ill-advised move to squeeze Newgarden that hard down to the line, Paul. That was side by side. He had to give him room.
As we see here, he's already there, and he just kept coming down, almost the pit lane wall. And there's damage to Newgarden's car. That front wing is broken, so double whammy. I mean, Newgarden's got to come in and now get a wing.
We've got a new steward format here in IndyCar.
Right.
It goes to a vote of 3. We've got Max Pappas, Dan Davis, and Ari Leyendijk, and they're going to probably review that and have to make a decision. Was that avoidable contact?
Well, certainly it was. I mean, he caused damage to Newgarden's car. I would have to agree that under the current format, what we know, you see here, he goes inside and he just starts squeezing him right here, almost down into the pit wall.
We just got chopped. Charlie just chopped us. You okay?
Watching on board with Castro Neves, that's Newgarden up ahead, down low.
You're clear.
And he couldn't be any lower, Newgarden, to stay out of the way.
Good job, good job.
We're under complete darkness now, and look at these guys. They're getting more racy now.
Oh!
Dang! Into the wall.
Hold on, hold it. Stay up there, stay up. Stay
Pretty
up.
just kissing the wall, but the caution will come out.
Opportunity to put some tires on it, get going again. He's been strong tonight.
I've had a kiss like that and been able to continue, and I've had a kiss like that and ended up in the hospital because I thought I was able to continue. So
One on track, and we have a yellow.
and the yellow has come
Newgarden's
out.
teammate.
Oh, right on the front stretch, and this is terrible for Hunter Ray.
Gets screwed again.
okay?
That's Ed Carpenter that's into the
Sorry.
wall, and the hands go up in the air. What happened here was that Ed had a move on Will Power.
He makes a move down the inside. He's not in far enough. Will turns in. He gets in that wake. Slides up into the gray.
And now Ray Hall gets below him. And at this point, Carpenter's pushed up higher into that gray. And when the tires get dirty this late in the race, there's so much stuff. And watch this. He just cannot turn anymore.
Hard contact on the right front.
Not sure how that happens under caution, but
Late commitment.
Looked like he just locked the rears on the brakes. I don't know why he was coming to the pit lane from from there, but it looks like he just locked up the rears on the brakes, transitioning from the banking.
Problems midway through the first practice for rookie Alexander Rossi. He overcooks turn number 8, nosing his Honda into the tire barrier. Rossi was okay, but his session was done. The only major issue happened at the end of practice number 2 for Sebastian Bourdais as he makes contact with the wall. Issues early for 2010 Long Beach winner Ryan Hunter-Reay as he makes contact to start the practice session.
Yeah, he was able to continue on, and again, right about the spot where that manhole cover is, that's where he seemed to lose grip first, and when you do that going into a turn, you're pretty much a passenger at that.
Issues for Graham Rahal in turn number 9 as he takes the corner a bit too fast. His Honda gets away from him and hits the wall to end practice.
And I'll tell you, obviously, that red flag doing what we would anticipate. That is bringing everybody to pit road. Tony Kanaan, Elio Castroneves, both there.
Midway through the first session, Mikhail Aloshin has problems, spinning off course after a trip to the grass in turn 5. Once the racetrack dried up, there weren't many issues. Will Power did do a little landscaping at the bottom of the hill near the museum. And Sebastian Bourdais used up a bit too much of the racetrack in turn number 5.
90 laps in front of us from the Grand Prix of Alabama. And Aloshin. Look as though they're going to get the green. The caution comes out right away. Mikhail Aloshin, Jack Hawksworth. Issues in the back of the pack.
Looks to me like as Aloshin is trying to go to speed, he gets hit in the back by Carlos Munoz, and that turns Aloshin into Hawksworth in the 41, and that's the second time this year that Munoz has had some issues there.
Absolutely nothing that Aloshin could have done. He's getting ready there. You can see it just stacks up. Munoz runs into him. He hits Hawksworth, and all the rest of the field luckily escapes through there. So
what Marco Andretti saw coming out of the turn.
I'll tell you what, we went green to checker with no yellows. We didn't even get the race started, and we have a yellow at a track that's a lot easier to get around.
We've gone yellow to yellow to start off in Alabama.
Perhaps went off in turn 2 there behind us. Pagenaud and Bourdais.
Already contact. Sebastian Bourdais with a broken wing. And he's got Dixon. Dixon stopped in turn 5.
Oh, he just got tagged there, probably by Bourdais, I would think.
Bourdais with the
He's
damage.
very lucky he didn't get hit by anybody else that was coming around because he was right in the middle of the hairpin. Bourdais slides in on the grass, tags Dixon's back wheel, spins him around. Now all these other cars have to avoid him. He's very lucky he didn't get T-boned and put him out of the race.
The top 9 have not been on pit road yet.
Whoa.
And way off
track. Went for it on the outside. He was on hot tires. They were both locked up.
Rahal goes to the push to pass.
He held
trying to get by
Pagenaud. That line really tight, and he's going to make a move.
And a little contact there. Pagenaud off track.
Pagenaud blocked him a little bit, and they made contact. As we see here, Graham gets the run. He goes to the inside, and he moves over on him.
Well, I don't think so. There's a corner, Paul. There's a right-hand corner coming up.
I don't know, man. I disagree with you.
That's the racing line.
I think it's a racing incident.
We'll have to find out from the stewards, but once again, we ride along with Rahal, and again, there's a right-hander there, as you mentioned. He has to turn.
That right-hander demands the right-hand side of the track. Pagenaud was out of room to leave any room. He can't go wide through there. Rahal wasn't far enough along.
And to the outside through turn 5. They've got to get by Hawksworth. Hawksworth in the 41 just in front of him. Side by side for the lead.
The front wing's gone now.
Off. That's it. No way Graham Rahal can keep the pace with that wing gone.
Wing has come off the 15 and off course he goes.
And
hits
back
the
on.
pole and back on. He's on the push to pass
again.
Came in practice number 2 at IMS. First, Andretti Autosport rookie Alexander Rossi slides his car around. Next, it's Mikhail Aloshin, who kicks up a ton of smoke with a spin at the north end of the track. It wasn't just the inexperienced drivers who had issues. Defending IndyCar champ Scott Dixon also looped his target Chevy around near the Speedway Museum, which completed the job a few laps later, sliding off course. The good news for fans of the 500 Festival Prince hopeful was there wasn't any severe damage to his Honda.
Trouble, cars into the outside wall. That's Sebastian Bourdais, and I believe that's Tony Kanaan. It is Kanaan, the other car.
And he's going to turn around and just start to flare off to the right-hand side, just a small amount. Tony reacts, and the blue and white car goes towards the wall, ends up collecting Sebastian Bourdais. So Sebastian thought that he ended up having an opportunity to maybe go around the outside. He's right along now with Tony Kanaan. Let's watch this. So he thinks he's going to go around the outside. The 9 of Scott Dixon takes his space. And so he's got to move to the left. And you know how quick this is. Remember, we haven't been in the car for a couple of hours here, Eddie. All of a sudden, here we go. Watch this along with Sebastian Bourdais. He's got nowhere to go.
He had nowhere to go, but he could have maybe anticipated the fact that he had a wall on his left-hand side.
It's kind of like you were saying before, Eddie, right, though? You're looking to make a right-hand turn, and there the problem comes from your left for both drivers.
Right, and there's no spotter in the world that can tell you what's happening at a start like that.
And surprise, Will Power under braking into 7.
And Power is taking the inside line.
Oh,
and
he did it.
He goes off. A rookie just pushed Power into a spin without touching his car. The black tires, as Rossi knew that he was on the red tires. He just tried to defend his position, and he didn't make it around the corner.
That tight arc that Will was trying to do, being on the inside, just didn't work for him. And you're right, tires are probably the big issue.
And braking offline, maybe some marbles there?
Absolutely.
Don't forget, Rossi is the one that put out the bait, and he took it. He had a choice to take the bait or not to.
All right. It's just like there's no grip on the grass.
What a great shot. Look at that shot.
Let's spin and win. Let's watch this. Oh, a little bit offline. The back end's coming around. Yeah, there he goes.
Rossi evades him.
Very nice. He's been watching American drag racing.
Oh, we have a car in trouble. Car in trouble. That's the number 16 car of Spencer Piggott, who becomes the first to crash into the safer barrier here at the Speedway. Another replay. Very hard contact on the left side of that machine into the safer barrier.
Bob, here's another replay. As you mentioned, turn 1, here it is. Left side of the car, close to that white line, and then the back end right here gets away, and he slaps the wall, and as you mentioned, he caught that safer barrier, which is the good news.
Looked like he was right in the groove, Dave. It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel, for instance, like if the wind is coming out of the south, you'll feel
we got a spin right there.
That's Chilton.
Yeah,
Max Chilton lost it, and Davey, that's a very, very tricky part of the racetrack. Looked like it just cut loose of the apex.
Yeah, you see that car. That is, that's an Andretti. I mean, a Ganassi car there, and Chevrolet. They're just trying to. Honda really has these guys covered right now, and I think the Chevrolets are doing all they can to get speed, but to get speed, Mark, that's making the car so unstable. And here's a replay right here coming off of turn 1, Mark. He pokes down in there, looks good. I mean, I don't even see any correction. He's really in line. Boy, it just takes off so late in that corner. Not very far from missing the safer barrier, but man, it turned around, and you'd like to see it hit left rear first and then the left side first, where it absorbs that energy just a little bit better than hitting head on that direct tub. But it got his attention. He has a small little limp, but thank God he got out of the car. He waved to the fans and take him to the med center and get him released. But you can just see it turn so fast and it just whips. And then that nose, boy, it's a tough way to hit. But Delar, like I say, they do such a great job with these cars. I mean, I really feel the safest race cars that there is over any open wheel race car.
As a rookie, got a lot of big-time celebrity people around. Oh, we got a crash. Looks like Pippa Mann has hit the wall. She might hit the inside wall as well to add insult to injury, but more than likely she got loose. It looked like she knocked the rear wing off the car. She probably got loose and clipped the back wing. Yeah, she's already sliding sideways, so she got loose, clipped the back of the car off. If we could get an earlier view of that, but it looks like she lost it early. and was completely flat sideways like a sprint car.
Yep.
And just tore that back wing and attenuator off and the bumper. Looked like she got the rear corner and then...
He's got a passion. You talked about the passion for this race, right? Oh, trouble!
Wheels are right down below the white line, so not trying to see if he's compensating for something that was going on in the car. The back end's out already. He hung on to it all the way through to the exit, and then he realizes he's lost it, did the right thing by just locking up the brakes, and now you're looking up the side of your helmet and hoping to see where you're going.
Very rarely do you see cars spin exiting 4.
I've actually done the same thing there one time, hit the outside wall, came in and hit the attenuator. That was back in 1994, and after I hit the wall the first time, I thought, okay, I'm clear, and then I looked out the side of my helmet, and lo and behold, as you said, Eddie, there's the attenuator. You're just a passenger with nothing left to do when the car cannot be steered. But the car did stay flat in the ground for as much as it went backwards many times. Here we go, real-time speed. Look at those orange flaps that are lifting up in the back.
See what happened to the two-time winner Montoya that got him in trouble off of turn number 2. Top of the screen there. Top right.
When he comes into view, he's completely crossed up.
Look at everybody after him take to that safety apron that's paved over there. Caught that wall just past the end of the safer barrier, too.
And he's lucky. All the cars behind are lucky there was asphalt there and not grass. It just snapped on him. Just right in the middle of the corner. Just snapped. He didn't stand a chance.
Turn 2, exit. Back. Behind to the wall. Hold up.
Very smartly
taking your hands off the steering wheel.
That might alter the picture as they're 3 wide here. It's Sage Karam on the outside. Townsend Bell down low to turn 1. That is close. Karam is in trouble. Hard crash.
I just started to say, bail out of it. It's not worth it at this point in the race.
He had worked his way up to 6th place.
That is Townsend Bell. Not enough room there. Townsend's right down to the white line, but Sage really should have bailed out of that, because this is not the last lap or the last 10 laps of the race. He really was a no-win situation to try to carry speed around the outside of the track there, but the driver with more experience probably would have realized that and taken his foot off of it and just let Townsend go.
But he was on a tear. He was doing really, look at that. There's no way for Townsend Bell to go anywhere. He was going so well. All he had to do, like you said, just bail out of that pass, filter back in, and he probably would have passed him within a lap and a half. Let's remember how far back he started, and he had worked his way all the way up to 6th place. He really needed a finish today, Scott.
Look at that impact.
It's great driving, though, to let the car land on the soft barrier as he did. You never want to go in nose first. It's always better if you can spread that energy on the whole side of the right hand. The whole right-hand side.
outside, inside, outside. Hold your line. Clear, clear. Go low, go low, go low. Yellow flag, yellow flag, yellow flag.
Now watch this guy, Aloshin. He's by himself, so we're going to watch as we roll here. Just watch his car. It looks like the back end of the car starts to break loose on him. Off he goes, hits the wall. The 77 of Oriole Service sees all this happen in front of him. Car looks like it starts to lose control underneath him, so off he is into the wall. Excuse me, that's the 19
That's Connor
of
Daly.
Gabby Chavis.
Loshin's spin looks very similar to Montoya's.
Yeah.
Got completely sideways in the middle of the corner.
But when he
Can
got
you
out
read
of
that?
the
Is that
car,
the 18 or the 19 that's coming up behind there? Because I can't see it.
It's Connor Daly.
So the 18 of Connor Daly sees it all happening in front of him. Yeah. So not only does he have some front nose damage, guys, he's got some rear wing damage also. So he'll have to come in for service both in the front wing and the rear wing.
Nice job. Holy crap.
Boy, that was a good call that Rahal did.
There's no time to react there, was it?
He could have gone high or he could have gone low. Normally, you try to avoid the accident by going up. That was a perfect call. He was completely blind for probably a second or two.
And the 18 of Connor Daly sees it all happen in front of him and just makes a wrong reaction. Unfortunately, he's going to have some repairs to the car.
The pole sitter, James Hinchcliffe, he said, and I quote, "This car is money. Don't change a thing." Whoa, contact at the end of pit road.
Townsend Bell bounces off and collects Hunter Ray.
With the spare wing, get ready with the spare wing.
Those are two teammates' cars. They just got taken out together at the end of pit road.
Arguably two of the fastest cars.
Yes.
Crew's doing a magnificent job.
I think it started with Castroneves.
Let's watch
but
here.
he's out in that outside lane.
Where he's supposed to be.
Oh yeah. Well, I wasn't blaming him. I'm just saying when that tire touched him, that turned Townsend Bell in.
There is a tire loose from a car, it looks like from Buddy Lazier's car. And so the caution flag comes out while those leaders were already on pit road. There's Lazier.
This is a family-run team from his father, Bob, and Buddy Lazier. And as we roll through here, you'll see the car start to give a bit of a squiggle. He's controlling it. The sparks are coming out the back because the bottom of the car is dragging on the ground now.
And you see that wheel nut from the car was bouncing away from it as the wheel went the other way.
That's a really dangerous thing to have hanging off like that.
Oh, I'm sure that the IndyCar officials will see that. He'll probably see a black flag.
Oh, trouble into the wall, top of the screen. Yellow flag will save Castroneves, and it's Sato who's into the wall.
So Takuma Sato, who we're riding on board with right now, following behind his teammate.
And it looked like that a good chunk of the tire barrier was able to absorb that blow, and that's going to bring a red flag out. And Nick, we get an opportunity to look at the replay now.
Yeah, he tagged it pretty good. A big part of the racetrack clogged up with debris. Coming in, the rear end of that race car stepped out on Aloshin and tagged that tire barrier. It sticks out there.
In a series of interesting moments for Mikel Aloshin this weekend. But yeah, the Centennial moments with Donald Davidson are going to continue, and we're going to use those to kind of remind folks that Indianapolis Motor Speedway is going to continue on past 100 years, and we're going to start to prepare you for the 101st.
James Hinchcliffe, the pole sitter at Indianapolis, a problem here, Mark, in turn number 5.
Yep, looks like he went in a little too hot, Jake, and spun it around, and I think made light contact with the wall. Don't know if the car's heavily damaged yet. He hit that curbing, which upset the balance of the race car, and he bumped that wall ever so slightly. A small piece of the rear wing assembly came off of the race car, and Jake, we're hopeful that that's just the bolt-on kind of damage. It looked like he had scrubbed all the speed off.
Yeah, just something gave way. Sorry, boys.
So Max Chilton, the rookie driver from England, he's over in that fountain area of the course.
See how bumpy the course is? I thought I heard him say something about a suspension breakage. The car wouldn't turn for him.
He's in the straightaway.
Just went directly into the wall. So, boy, what a helpless feeling that is, Eddie. So you watch him, he's coming down to turn 7 right now, and remember we said how bumpy this racetrack is? 162 miles an hour, already locked up the front wheels. He takes his foot off the brake just a little bit, tries to make the turn, carrying too much speed, ends up into the Corvette tire barrier there. And that's what you don't want to hear.
He had to make a quick decision here to try to make it around the corner or go down the escape route.
.62 or 3 miles an hour, down to trying to get down to about 60.
That was Graham Rahal hitting pit road. Contact on the front stretch. Hinchcliffe's into the wall and more.
And Sato.
Max Chilton also got a piece of it, and we're full course yellow in the first corner. So what happened? First corner, first lap.
Always so dangerous because everybody's always going for the same spot. Now let's watch up here. Looks like Charlie Kimball is in the middle of the track, and he's going to start to get himself over to his left to make room to get into the corner, which is a right-hander for him, and he starts to move all the traffic over, and the guy that pays for that the most is the number 5 car of James Hinchcliffe, who ends up getting into the wall, and the rest of the guys start sliding along.
Hinchcliffe had nowhere to go.
And you can hear the impact, and as a driver, I can tell you that you hate that.
Marco Andretti got a piece of it too.
He almost got through that.
Yeah, and you know, for Sato, he should have, you know, it's a hard thing to do because watch Sato, he ends up in the middle of the track, and you're trying to get off the middle of the track, hoping that nobody's going to hit you. But if he had his foot on the brakes and stopped, then you see that James took his hands off the steering wheel, so he ends up getting his hands caught. The late move, the surprise move, doesn't quite work. Scott Dixon brakes pretty late, guys. It's not like you're going to be able to go in there and outbrake him.
Juan Pablo Montoya has crashed at Detroit today.
To coming down that long straight, making that left-hander after coming off of turn 7. The back end steps around from him and right into the outside wall, Eddie, and now the right rear toe is actually bent, and you can see the right rear wheel askew, so that's what drives him into the wall here on the inside.
I hate to say the obvious, but we've had 2 races and 2 crashes from Montoya. 3 races and 2 crashes from Montoya.
Oh, we got a crash. Got a car on the wall already. Hot slick track. It looks like it's Connor Daly, maybe?
It does.
Rod?
No. That's the 19 of Gabby Chavez. Wow.
Just about, I don't know if that was even the outlap. You know, getting a race balance right now. If he was doing a qualifying sim on his first flying run, that's a pretty risky. He lost.
You saw the
early.
rear touch. You see the rear touched in turn 3, and the car just went around. Tough to say if that was kicked off by the car bottoming or the aero balance being way too positive on the nose. Either way, that's an early spot to lose the car in a bad angle.
Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay able to go longer than everyone else, but he said on the radio, this better pay off with us staying out longer than everyone else. They talked about a wing adjustment. They vetoed that wing adjustment and a crash on the track.
Huge crash on the front straightaway. Looks like Connor Daly and I believe Joseph Newgarden. Big hit coming into the tri-ovals.
See Joseph Newgarden moving in the car. That is a big relief.
That was in the kink coming to the start-finish line. Understand that Both are talking on the radio, and that is good. There's Connor Daly in his car, massive damage. You see Joseph Newgarden in his, talking to the safety workers when they got there.
We never like to see a car go cockpit first into the wall like that. That is terrible.
A lot of damage on both of these cars. Are completely destroyed. If we can hopefully get a replay. You know, Connor Daly was still on track, hadn't pitted yet on worn tires. Joseph Newgarden on new tires. I would assume that Joseph was coming around him, and maybe
look at the
Connor Daly got loose.
Look at the damage to the tub there, where the car slid upside down. That's something we rarely see.
Yeah, he's moving around, moving his neck around, so it was, thank God for that, because he was upside down, head first into the wall, helmet first, sliding along the wall, but that car is completely destroyed.
And this is the best thing I've seen in a while. Shaken, obviously, but Joseph Newgarden standing on his own with help from the Home Ultra safety crew, kind of pointing when he got there to his shoulder and also to his head, letting them know that he had had contact. He is definitely shaken, but the idea that he is standing outside his car is the most welcome sight we've seen.
You're in a bit of, you're in shock right now. So look, he's completely in shock.
There's not a better safety crew in the business than the Home Ultra safety crew. If you end up in this situation, that's what you want to see when you open your eyes, is these guys in the orange standing there.
Adrenaline at that point, you want to get out of the car. A lot of guys, you feel like you're okay, but once you get out of the car, you realize, I don't feel so good.
Well,
so
the pain can just come like a giant wave.
All right, let's go back and take a look. Up at the top of your screen, Connor Daly loose.
Connor got loose.
Oh!
Connor just got loose, corrected, and went up into the track into Joseph, and now Joseph's upside down, and the front spins around, and Connor's car pushing it right into the wall, into the safer barrier. It's a good thing that was safer barrier and not concrete. And these two guys are the best of buddies too. They're best friends. So this is a double hard.
Yeah, they came up through the junior formulas together.
Sound of it.
And the violence that you see with which Connor's car snaps. Watch this. He gets loose, and now he's going to correct. Wow.
Vicious crash. So they are attending to have his helmet off.
Right shoulder is what he keeps
now they
pointing
have
to.
They have
about the speeds here and how quick it happens and how wrong it can go. And thank God no one else was involved in that once those cars were sliding helplessly down the track. But Paul, you pointed to it, the safer barriers that they have placed around this racetrack. They add more over the last year. They've added more, and there are only a couple of areas right now that don't.
Foam inserts between the safer barrier and the wall. We're going to get another view here, start finish.
And you could hear the sound resonate down the safer barrier once the contact
dampened Connor Daly's impact tremendously.
Well,
it probably saved him from a huge frontal impact.
Absolutely.
You see the car come up off the ground when it was being pushed into the wall by Daly's car. So that shows you that second impact was very, very hard. You see reverse camera angle from Hinchcliffe's car.
Got one in the fence.
It's the snap that happens so quickly on board with Scott Dixon.
Oh, whoa, he's got some damage there too.
Oh, that's going to hurt. That his right front wing is
buddy, but you know, he took blame himself 3 times, and you know, these things happen. Cars get loose and accidents happen. It's not something you can control sometimes.
Well, and experience often comes through mistakes, and I think what you learn as a driver.
Morning practice session also allowed drivers a chance to test the limits of this massive 14-turn 4-mile course. Some of them may be a little too much, as a handful of drivers made off-course excursions Friday morning.
There will be 6 opportunities to score points in a very, very tight points race.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was talking to Poppy from Andretti Autosport when they were doing their installation laps in our first session of the day. And
then you go to a street course, then a road course. And the way the schedule has panned itself out now with the fact that you have Texas, as you talked about, and then the Watkins Glen addition to itself, and virtually every driver at some point over the course of the year has that ultimate challenge presented in front of them.
Turn 3 proving to be a bit troublesome. We just saw.
Dave said before, standing here now with Ryan Hunter-Reay, they brought him, I believe, just to fuel up the car right now. He's P3, so the adjustment that they made.
Let's go back as we look at Tony Kanaan, who's gotten off course, and looks like he's able to keep the car under power, and fortunately he's not in a sand trap. He's going to get back on the course and get it back underway, so we'll get it off by the 10 of Tony Kanaan. Questions surrounded Alexander Rossi almost as soon as the twin checkers flew as to what his future would be. Would he continue to focus on his efforts getting back to Formula One? As we kind of recap the accident of Tony Kanaan, he did get through the gravel trap but got to the grassy area.
Rob Howden. Yeah, guys, standing down here with Sebastian Bourdais, and of course David mentioning that he has been very strong here at Road America in the past. Obviously Bourdais been in and out of the top 10, currently sitting P6.
With the rest of the field on flying laps, Joseph Newgarden would make a mistake in the carousel and bring out a full course caution. That would jumble up the running order and allow drivers like Connor.
Wow. They were diving for positions, maneuvering, positioning, and around goes Jack Hawksworth in turn 5. Spinner, Connor Daly's on turn 1. Is that outside turn 1 or is it outside the carousel?
It was a fast corner. I'm going to guess that was turn 1 at the exit.
Oh,
yes.
Connor Daly, the race was going so well.
Now he was battling with Hunter-Reay and maybe Montoya.
Yeah, contact between somebody, because it's not a common place to spin and get that far off the track.
That is at big speed.
Oh, there's a race going on. Look. Oh, he got it way too late on the brakes. Locked the rears, and that was it.
Defending to the inside as Montoya's coming out of the pits, but just overcooked it big time into 1.
It's a good thing that didn't happen during the pit stop cycle, because that would have changed the whole complexion of the race.
Hey guys, the 28 team, Ryan Hunter-Reay just radioed in and said it looked like he had a puncture or something, but it didn't come from me. And on the stand, Ray Gosselin said, yeah, it looks like there was something wrong with that left rear.
Something blew. You see that rear pod on the left. See that go there?
Yeah, suspension
right.
broke.
Oh,
yeah.
It broke.
Yeah, no.
Looks like the left rear completely failed. So no fault of Connor Daly's. That's just the worst of all kind of failures at terminal velocity.
What a shame. That's not his fault, and he had driven a very good race to that point. And he says, yep, what could I do? It wasn't my fault.
Brought out with caution. One of the characteristics of an oval such as this, Nick, again, we've heard talk, and we've got another issue. We've got another Andretti car spinning off of turn number 4. This time, it's the car of Ryan Hunter-Reay. Nick, looking at the skid marks, he might have made some light contact with the wall. It looks like damage on that left rear wheel.
The suspension components that are right there by the rear wheels, but again, Hunter-Reay loses contact or loses control, Mark, and tags the outside wall there towards the exit of turn number 4.
Got really low between 3 and 4. I don't think he quite got down to the apron, and we didn't see the left sides get below the yellow. Taking another look at it, he got close to the white line, and as he started to come back up to the racetrack to make that familiar exit off of 4 to get to the high side, he was on his way there when the rear of that car just stepped out on him. Yeah, that's got to be a helpless feeling. And again,
and said, hey, we've got a racetrack where we run well. Here's the problem. There it is, that left bank just. And then with the additional fluid that comes out on the hot exhausts.
Watch this here, the flame was really big here.
Will Power there behind him.
Space shuttle.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, you could launch a small satellite with that kind of thrust.
You're right on board.
Wow, it's like the Batmobile. Yellow goes up because of this. Max Chilton just gets into some dirty air. I think he was behind Bourdais.
Yeah, he just got loose coming off and slides all the way down the back stretch. The tires pop right there.
You know, he needed a good result and got one there.
Yeah, for sure. Getting a replay of the spin, just overcooked it and spun it there into turn number 1. But it was an impressive performance, especially with the struggles that Honda had.
Because your logo is being covered up by tire marks.
That's a good point. There's a good replay for those joining us online.
Oh, boy. Lucky for him, he scrubbed off a lot of speed. I mean, his crew, he's still in a race car, in fact. His crew is not going to, I don't think, be as busy as Juan Montoya's crew, but boy, I tell you, he hit it a pretty good lick. I'm sure he still felt that in the cockpit plenty. Pieces and parts and parts and pieces we're taking a look at. Oh my goodness. Nicky came off of that turn, and the balance of the race car and the grip totally and completely went away.
With Connor Daly this morning in warm-up, this is a turn 5 curb. The steering wheel rips out of his hand. Now that's a healthy Connor Daly. He's 5'10". He's a
completed. There we go. We're not clean for the first lap, and it's Ryan Hunter-Reay,
Charlie Kimball,
and Charlie Kimball.
And that's turn 8. That's exactly where Newgarden just passed Hinch.
Wow, the whole front wing missing on Hunter-Reay's car. He'll dive right now for the pits, get that wing, and try to get out before they come around to lap him.
Watch this. There's Rahal on the inside.
Oh, he got hit by Hunter-Reay, it looks like.
I think you're right, Paul. Rahal was clipped.
I think Rahal ran over Kimball's front wing, and that cut his tire down. When Kimball spun, he got his tire underneath the back tire.
But watch, Hunter-Reay gets Rahal here. Boom, right there.
He got a little bit. He got help from both sides. It looked like he got a little bit of.
And there's been a crash. It's Joseph Newgarden.
Let's see if a yellow comes out. It has to.
He's hurt. His hand is down, and you can tell he's hurt.
Oh, big break for Power to get in here. Castro Neves and all. That's a big hit, Paul.
That's a big hit, and I could tell by the look in his eye that he hurt his hand because his visor was up. And you could see the pain in his eyes. He hits the curb, loses the wheel right out of his hand. The same thing that happened to Connor Daly this morning. He hits the curb, jerks the steering wheel right out of his hand, clobbers the wall. And as we saw the side shot of him sitting in the car, you could see that he was in pain. Look at this, Townsend. He hits the curb, and it just yanks that steering wheel right out of his hands.
And you got to think his hand's just exhausted from hanging on.
Totally.
And just nothing you can do. And we saw Connor Daly losing.
Montoya is in the wall.
And that is really going to help Hinchcliffe.
Oh, that's it.
Could end under yellow unless they can really clean these cars quickly.
And Montoya's not alone. That's Jack Hawksworth with big damage to the right front. And this is what Hinch needed.
So this is down into turn 3. This is Charlie Kimball on the inside. Montoya in the middle. A little bit of contact there with Ryan Hunter-Reay. Now he's on the outside.
That's his favorite guy. So they're banging wheels. I think he ended up with damage here and then just...
So he goes in by himself. Jack's already there.
He went in to make a pass, and the car was already there, and he had no option but nowhere to go but to head for the tires or hit the other car.
That's what it looked like from Connor Daly's view.
Ran out of lanes.
I'm not sure Montoya would have made the corner if Hawksworth wasn't there, just because of the marbles that accumulate.
That's like a New Jersey lane closure on the bridge. Nowhere to go.
And Hawksworth just radioed in and said Pagano ran into the back of me.
Oh, really? They were fighting over position in the top 10. They were fighting for 9th.
When you're pulling out of your pit stall, like I mentioned, you're going uphill, and you're doing so with other people pulling out in front of you.
We see so many times as one of the Penske cars has gone off course here during this practice session. Is that the number 12 of Will Power, Nick?
Will Power, yeah. Will Power just at the exit apex of the keyhole there.
Yeah.
The Honda IndyCar report on Fox Sports Radio, and of course the Verizon IndyCar mobile app.
Dave, that was a great 360 by Mikhail Aloshin that we just saw there. Warming and cooling that engine down, coming back on the racetrack as Mikhail Aloshin's decided that he has not done kicking up dirt, as now he does go down to the S's, Dave. And
he's not going down without a fight.
Will Power will go second quick. Juan Montoya is third. Tony Kanaan fourth. Elio Castroneves fifth. So it is a Penske and Ganassi top 5. Fastest Honda driver is James.
He felt great about how the car ran. He said, oh, here we go.
Dixon.
Here, oh, he's done. Front suspension is folded up. He went for a dive bomb on Castroneves.
And this is full course caution. That's going to help everybody that just pit. That's Aloshin, Castroneves, Dixon obviously is out. Wow. Munoz, Sport A. They'll all go to the front after this caution. Watch as Dixon was trying to get past Castroneves. He's going to pop driver's right.
Castroneves is never easy. He fades to the inside. He's looking in his mirrors. Dixon goes for the inside. The door is open. And you're not going to get 2 cars in there when you're on the curb like that.
I'm not sure the door was ever fully open either.
Well, it was cracked open, and he tried to kick it open, and there just wasn't enough room. He climbed the curb right on the braking zone here, and then it was done. You know, it's like we said in Toronto.
Watch Dixon up the inside. You can see the track's dirty. He's going to hit the curb. And I think when you hit the curb right there, that unloads the suspension on the left side for Dixon, which really weakens its ability to handle the blow of impact.
And they'd both gone to push to pass.
Common denominator is me. I got to get faster. I got to do a better job. Now running P2, Castroneves off the track.
See what happens. We're watching from our helicopter.
Got to run on Chilton. Could this be teammates' revenge here? No, he just flat out way out-braked it and way overdrove it.
He didn't lock the brakes.
You lose a lot of time going around that sand trap. So
look at the rear pod sagging. Yep, and that's, as you said, that's lost downforce. It's not up, it's not level, it's not providing the rigidity it needs, and that's what he does so well on a track like Mid-Ohio.
Whoa! Big hit. It's the 41 of Jack Hawksworth. That's in turn 1.
Wow. And what lap are we on? Lap 60. Just barely enough to make it on fuel. You'd have to save a lot.
Jack?
That was a really big impact. You can tell he's hurt.
Jackie, okay?
This was a little bit earlier when Hawksworth on the left fighting with Marco Andretti in the yellow and blue 27.
I wonder if they banged wheels and maybe something failed on the car, but no contact there. But
he gets in the grass.
He dropped his right side in the grass. You know, it's a lot like Charlie Kimball's crash in qualifying a few years ago. When you go off there, look, it's downhill, grass runoff. There's barely any time to slow down.
150-mile-an-hour corner in 5th gear, and he just dipped a wheel off on the entry and lost the rear. And you're along for the ride after that. So big mistake.
If they can get this done quickly, he should be able to cycle out and keep the lead. So far, everything is A-okay. They get all the fuel in. And look out! No! Oh, there's contact. Mikhail Aloshin and Joseph Newgarden.
And Will Power wins the race off pit road. He came in ahead of Simon Pagano, and he maintains that gap, but big problems in the middle of pit lane.
Look for the green car at the top of the screen.
And part of the problem is he had to make a front wing adjustment. So rather than have the left front guy do the front wing adjustment, you're putting a lot on the right front changer.
The guy here got hit right here on Montoya's car.
Right front.
So really lucky nobody was hurt. Look at the gap. Look at the
Simon
gap Connor has, but Pagano's making a move on the outside. They touch.
Pagano, Power, contact, and Charlie Kimball off at turn 4. Will Power and Simon Pagano racing incredibly hard down into turn 4.
Get him up the front, but the only Andretti car up front to get on the podium would be a huge win for them. And look at Bourdais.
Whoa!
Whoa, that was the yellow that Daly needed.
Oh, it's going to come out at the wrong time. Sato continues.
Oh, and that's brutal for Sato, who had such a good, solid run going. They really needed it. And this will certainly bring out a yellow. When you're that deep in China Beach, there's no way out.
They might just keep it local yellow. O'Day, he's got to run. Doesn't know which way to go. Do I go to the inside or go to the outside? He locks up and just gets into the bumper of Sato, and they both go off. Gave him the chrome horn.
Well,
and got himself beached in the sand.
Practice, just go to the first practice session. Last year's race winner. Oh, Ryan Hunter-Reay, big hit.
Straight out of the pits, qualifying simulation run, low downforce, and it just got away from him there. The back comes around. You hear the throttle hit as his foot goes full throttle from the impact. Luckily, Ryan was okay, but that's the car that he won the Indy 500 and completely destroyed. And this was Charlie Kimball.
Well, and he crashed hard here last year in practice, so the most amazing thing, the tethers do their job, the cars stay on the ground like IndyCar. Unfortunately, the steering wheel didn't stay on the ground, but he escaped injury.
And then Juan Pablo Montoya trying to get up to speed on full tires. Big hit on the right, then back to the left side of the track as well. On board with Simon Pagenaud.
And this was the second accident that Pagenaud had to witness. Just missed his teammate Montoya. Pagenaud lucky to come away unscathed. Your champion.
Into turn 3, back on.
Whoa, big crash. That is Sato. Huge crash, just lost it in the middle of 3. Massive, massive impact.
Takuma Sato coming to complete the first green flag lap, heavy contact, turn 3.
Good sign to see the visor up, but man, Robin, I know that feeling. It just knocks the wind out of you, and he's in pain.
The back of the field there, you take a look at that Firestone. He's going to come in with everyone else and top off. But again, no big penalty for Dixon because he was already running at the back, Brian.
And you can understand how that puncture happened with Takuma Sato's crash. It looked like an explosion of that ABC supply. Honda?
It always is. Sato probably trying to get a good run coming off of 3 to catch Aloshin in the draft, but car just gets away from him big time. And as you said, Brian, that is a massive impact. And I can see the photographers diving for cover outside the fence. And I wonder if the safer barrier actually took some damage as well. On board now with Hinchcliffe.
Watch how fast it happens from the onboard.
Low, stay low.
He had a fairly clean intro. They're not planning on any changes this time. The car has been good. He's out, Jan.
And while he's leaving, we're having to... Oh, there's a big change on the front for Charles Garden. And look out!
Huge crash on pit lane. That's Rossi, Kimball, Castroneves. And one car was in the air, well on top of the other.
Alexander Rossi, the Indianapolis 500 champ, had run up front here, had been leading here, a problem. Castroneves involved, Charlie Kimball involved, and I don't know if Kimball's car is damaged or not. Castroneves out of his number 3. Look, top of the screen, you see Rossi coming out of his pit stall. He gets together with Kimball. Oh! What a terrifying moment for Helio Castroneves. The left front wheel, the suspension coming in and over the cockpit.
This is 2 races in a row. We saw this problem with Aloshin and Newgarden at Mid-Ohio. And it's, you know, your race leader, I know the feeling.
And a problem just as we went to break.
Championship leader, Simon Pagenaud.
We talked about being safe, not doing anything to risk those points. Don't do anything here that you don't need to do. And for Pagenaud, big impact. The whole right side of that car damaged. The exit of turn 1. And this is going to change the complexion of the championship enormously.
Just as Will Power takes the lead, the guy he's battling for in the championship. So huge jump possible for Power in the points.
Just as we were going to break. What was that? See the car just...
now, and you can see the brakes are locked. So I talked earlier about the marbles, and I wonder if he just got a little high mid-corner and it just took off on him. You could see the black marks as he tried to lock up and prevent impact, but once you're high, there's really no chance to get the car back to the groove.
Did I see a puff of smoke out of the back of the car before the car drifted up high? Did it bottom out, perhaps?
I believe that would have been him locking the brakes, so there he's up early already.
Now, it was well before what you were talking about when the brakes locked. It was more at the entry to the corner, but for some reason the car just gets loose. Yeah, I mean, certainly hurt it.
As they bring out the tow truck and get ready to take his car off the track. And see that replay once again as Sato hits the outside wall. We'll see it again up here on Big Hoss. Something gives way under the 14 and right up into the outside wall on that Texas sign in turn 4. And that's brought us to a stop here in the first round of our practice for the Verizon IndyCar Series.
They are super close coming off of turn 4. Scott Dixon wants that lead lap.
Yeah, the more you do this, just like I said, the more you start fooling around and racing each other, that's what happens.
Carpenter and Dixon touch. Dixon is into the wall, and there's that Castro Neves that came by and just clipped him.
I thought that might be Gabby Chavez that clipped Dixon. We'll have to see it again, but Scott Dixon, I'm going to say that there was a little bob and weave between those two guys. I'm sure Carpenter didn't appreciate how hard Dixon was racing him.
I would say I would question that whether that could have been Ed's fault, an avoidable contact penalty. Because they were on the straightaway and it was like Ed moved over and they touched wheels. So that could be an avoidable contact. He's mad. I'd be mad too.
And the frustration continues to mount for Scott Dixon.
Look at this.
Coming through the tri-oval.
Just kind of moved over a little. Looked like Ed just kind of cut the lane. And I mean, we see guys run 2, 3 wide through there all the time. So there's plenty of room to do it. That's not an accident that you see very often. We watch here from an overhead.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
It looks to me like Dixon moved up.
It looked like Dixon, you're right. It looked like Dixon got into the back of Ed. So I'm in the wrong here. I think.
Wait a second. Can we say that one more time?
I'm in the wrong here.
Does anybody
I
record
agree with you. I think Dixon moved up the lane and caught that back bumper.
That is Elio Castroneves.
Black car behind them.
Guys, Tony Kanaan has moved up to second in a big
just
crash.
Like I told you. And who is that? It's Rossi? Is that Rossi?
No, that's Ed. That's Ed Carpenter.
Yep. And that's Max Chilton from behind. Spun, trying to avoid. And Ed Carpenter's chance to win ends up in the fence.
What a tough year it's been for Ed Carpenter. It's good to see him get out under his own power there. And he's furious.
Yep, rips the radio cord out. He's gonna walk off. He's got that retro helmet. It says Ed on the side. He waves to the crowd, but can't be happy. That's pretty much the end of the year.
Let's take a look at what happened here. That's Graham Rahal on the low side. Castroneves coming up behind the Fuzzies.
Ed
green
got
and gold
loose.
car.
Yeah, he got loose, stepped up, and
right rear
Castroneves
went down.
Nowhere to go.
The right rear for Ed Carpenter, it looks like, went down.
And Elio took pretty good contact. Front and rear for Castroneves. That's on board Simon Pagenaud.
Yeah, it's wiggling.
And I wonder if the tire went down from the contact from Castroneves. But either way, Carpenter, look at the right rear, guys. It's already down there. I don't know that it would have been cut by Castroneves with the pod in the way. So.
Well, it was certainly wiggling for quite a ways. It was loose. He caught it like 3 times during the corner. So
Hinchcliffe for the race lead, dealing with the lap car of Simon Pagenaud, and we have a yellow.
Oh, a lotion.
And Hawksworth. Alotion was back on the lead lap, and we wanted to see him try to make his way through, but he won't get the chance, and Max Chilton also has had to come through the grass.
Max Chilton's had 2 spins through the grass, avoiding wrecks and no damage. That's good luck for him, but both of these cars are demolished. Alotion's rear wheel is completely gone. The front wheel completely gone on Hawksworth. Hawksworth is a little bit ginger with his knee, something going on. He was slow to get out of the car, so a hard hit on the front of the car with that Johnny Rutherford retro helmet.
Let's try to figure out what happened here. between Hawksworth and Aloshin. Aloshin again, chance at a top 5. You see him further back, red, white, and blue car on the high side. Imagine there.
That's Aloshin just coming in his
right
green,
there.
and
He
Aloshin
loses it.
Yeah, nowhere for Hawksworth to go. Aloshin lost it, and boom, right into the side and head on into the wall. It was a hard hit. Very similar to the crash that Connor had with Newgarden. Very similar, but luckily these guys walked away from this one.
Hawksworth was just an innocent bystander coming through at the end, and Chilton had to go through the grass to avoid him.
And we have a massive shunt. That's Connor Daly.
Looks like he lost it on the exit. You can see the skid marks coming off.
I hit water.
Well, I wonder if he got a little too much of that exit curb. He's saying, I think I hit water, and it was damp this morning, guys. When I got up and walked outside, it looked like some rain overnight.
Yeah, gosh, man. I hate doing this to you guys. I'm so sorry.
Looked like Tony Kanaan. There might have been a little bit of water that was seen in Kanaan's on board, but we'll take a look here, guys.
Yeah, you can hear he was on the radio, frustrated. Let's hear if we can.
A lot of times the exit curbs can hold water. Look at Connor Daly. He's a little wide already.
Yeah, there's something popped up there.
That's moisture.
Yeah, big crash there. A lot of damage. He's currently P3. His teammate, R.C. Anderson, in P2.
And you can see Aloshin and the other cars just using the paint.
Steering wheel nearly ripped out of his hands.
Let's see Kanaan. He picked up the throttle so early that he got wheel spin on the throttle, but kept it out of the fence. That's pretty
lucky right there. That's really, really fast. That's probably a 140-mile-an-hour turn.
Great car control.
Joseph Newgarden.
Trying to pick that spot out as we look. Joseph Newgarden. Good news is he's moving around in the cockpit. He's got both arms folded. That's down around the. Is that the exit to the boot or? Checking on the multi-screen monitor, but we know this. It has brought out a red flag. It's the exit of turn number 7, and we're going to get a look at the onboard shot. And again, gets high on the curbing. He's down into the boot, gets to the bottom of the racetrack, and then all of a sudden, the left rear bumps that curbing, and he's along for the ride at that point. It looked eerily similar to the incident that Connor Daly had. Yeah, my goodness.
A lot of damage there on the Joseph Newgarden Chevrolet.
At the speed.
Yep, winning the 100th anniversary Indy 500 with Dan Weldon, and then, of course, this year winning the 100th Indianapolis 500 with Alexander Rossi.
Mikel Aloshin in the number 7 machine, a spin in turn number 8. He waits for Hintz to clear, and then take a look at the issue involving Mikel Aloshin, and it looks like he ran up a little too quickly on Carlos Munoz, and once he climbed on the binders, he was kind of along for the ride, and the car spun around, got off track, went through the runoff area, and he backed it into the tire barrier. From Hintz, that clearly took him out of the top 6 in that session. So we've seen that grip go away, especially in that troublesome portion of the track throughout the course of the weekend, Zach.
I feel a lot better and maybe a little not so intelligent that I see Hinch spin there, because all weekend that's the one place I was complaining about my car was in turn 7. In the middle there, it just unloads and gets free and as well. So I think the toe turn 7 is going to have a lot of problems and be one of those corners everyone's kind of afraid of throughout the whole weekend.
Let's go to the other end of the racetrack and hear from Jay Query.
You know, it's interesting, Mark. As soon as that red came out, you could visibly see Juan Montoya get off the throttle.
To the green with Dixon grabbing the front. Power jumps in right behind, and then he's going to look to try to go around the outside as they head to turn number 1. But there's a battle for third. Kanaan and Power nearly come together. Pagano goes up, and the championship leader Montoya is around it. Pagano had some problem. That was a Logan that came together, and then Bourdais is over in the tires.
One of the ABC Foyt cars came sliding down the inside, locked up, 4 wide. He goes for the curb and makes contact, and Pagano is there, and he hits this car here as Montoya spinning. So I don't know.
Well, we talked about in the pre-race young drivers that needed a result, and Jack Hawksworth would certainly be near the top of that list. and it's very difficult to force 4 wide up the inside on board with Newgarden.
Yeah, there was multiple incidents going on here. There was cars spinning in front, there was cars spinning behind, so a couple of different things going on.
Start of his young IndyCar career, started in 6th, lost a couple of positions early, and Aloshin is around, and he's hard into the barrier.
That's at the top of really the fastest part of the track.
See what happened. Dixon's nowhere in sight.
Tire blew apart. And that is a very, very rare instance when you see a Firestone tire come apart, and that is the fastest part of the track. You're probably going 170 right there, and luckily not a ton of contact with the barrier.
You know, I'm looking at the absolutely no indication for the driver in a situation like that. Aloshin totally a passenger, and it's as they get to turn 1, you see Tony Kanaan in the blue car there. See if he gets a run. Just a little bit soft on the exit, but further back there's some wheel-to-wheel action and a big crash. Graham Rahal, I believe.
That was a big one. He went head on into the wall. It looked like he was on the inside of one of the Foyt cars and got it sideways.
Talk to me, Graham, you okay?
Yeah, he's already taken the wheel off, so he can't respond, but he is going to climb out, so that's good news.
He's down on the inside right here, and he pinches it, and he just loses it there. And
I think there was contact with Kimball. I believe that was Charlie Kimball that was trying to defend, and as Kimball came off the corner, I think he clipped Rahal. So there's Rahal up the inside of the black and green car, Charlie Kimball, and I think there might have just been contact right there.
And the incident is under review because of that contact.
Wow, that was a big impact.
Didn't you just have a sense something was coming with all these fast guys wanting to get back through?
Well, there's an urgency here in turn 1 as we ride with Graham Rahal. He's going to duck to the inside here, try to outbrake.
See if they touch wheels on the exit here, because Kimball got on the curb. Yep.
Oh, man.
Watch in real time here.
On Sebastian Bourdais, pardon moi, monsieur, but I'm taking the corner right here. I need a result as Bourdais gets airborne. Looked like Surfer's Paradise, PT.
Certainly did. Look at this on car. He comes sliding down the inside, hits the curb, front wheels off the ground, goes for the grass, big air. He's lucky he didn't come out and get into the side of Rossi, and then Piggott jumps the curb.
Next win, by the way, will be
willpower.
Big one.
Like I said earlier, when you're in the danger zone with these guys in the back, they do not give you any room, and that car is destroyed, and that's the end of the day, and it might be the end of the championship for him. Charlie has got a run.
Huge run.
He comes up the outside, and you know, Will was just taking the normal racing line. There wasn't a lot of room out there for Charlie, but Charlie was committed, and Charlie is a guy that doesn't lift off. We've seen this. Once he's going, he's going to go, and they make contact.
Well, he had such a good run, Kimball did, going, that he had to commit to his move before they were out of the final apex, so his only option was to go to the outside, or else he would have to lift, and he would have lost the momentum. I'm not sure
I don't know. I think you always know who you're racing, and you got to have eyes in the back of your head all the time. They're one of the few teams that have, as we watch what happened here, a big spin which could cause a yellow, and who is that?
Montoya.
Montoya causing a spin. Everybody kept going, so no yellow comes out.
It's double the excitement. The genesis of all of this, as we have, Mark, what do we have upstairs?
Joseph Newgarden in the 21 machine has found the tire barrier, Dave. He's buried it into the tire barrier. It looks at the top of the hill. Jake Query, do you have an update on Joseph?
No, I was just going to say, just as you said that, the fact that Joseph Newgarden ran off, Mark, just in terms of the news this morning about Joseph Newgarden's future, and of course that remains a lot in the balance. Kurt Cabin of the Indianapolis Star talked to Roger Penske this morning, and Roger Penske had told him that confirming they do want the 3 cars. We'll talk with Dave and John Menard in regards to that as well. But Juan Montoya continues to be that wild card because Roger Penske was very coy. He would not.
A lot of people have appreciated. We're not done seeing you out on the race cars. Mark James, we see James Hinchcliffe has apparently touched the wall here at Sonoma.
Yeah, the bad news for Hinch, some damage to the front of that race car. And Nick, that's down in that hairpin section around turn 11. Where they come onto the main straightaway.
Appreciate Dave talking to Oriol Servia there, and wish Oriol the best of luck throughout the course of the offseason. Yeah, the major damage looked like at least to the front wing, which is destroyed on that number 5 Aero Honda for James Hinchcliffe. Getting a look at a replay for the first time. Hinch has got that car almost full lock, jumps on the accelerator, steps out on him, Mark, and he makes pretty heavy contact with the left front tire. Again, it looks like it was just mainly wing damage, but they're going to have to look over the left front suspension of that race car pretty significantly.
Something happened. I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily. Michael, you're looking at the replay as well. I don't know that it necessarily looked like that he lost grip. All of a sudden, the thing he just had trouble. The wheel just like spun on him.
Yeah, it was kind of odd. He came out of the apex, and you could see that he was back on the throttle, and then the back end may have stepped out, and when he tried to save it, just the whole front end kind of went into the wall there. He might have slapped the left rear as well, so there might be damage.
The gap he's going to build now on Castroneves if he can as they come to turn 7. Marco Andretti off at the dirt further back.
A long climb up this hill. It's not a steep gradient, but it's long. Around goes Aloshin. Did he get tagged by Kanaan?
I believe he got touched in the rear by Kanaan. He spins it back around. I think we're going to have no yellow. If Kanaan didn't stall, I think he might be stalled.
The blue and red car, and then watch the NTT data, the blue and white car. Watch Kanaan on the inside.
And Kanaan was making a move on Sebastian Bourdais, and I think had such a run, he thought, well, let me see if I can sneak outside of Aloshin. Let's see onboard from TK here.
Clear by 4.
No, the engine did stall there. There you see Aloshin spinning around. Marco Andretti up the inside, hopefully gets room from Newgarden. He does, tries to push Newgarden off. There's contact further back.
Is that Aloshin? No, it's one of the Foyt cars. One of the Foyt cars at the turn 7 hairpin.